Welcome to our session on interdiocesan community and capacity building, focusing on the collaboration through the California Catholic School Superintendents Curriculum Committee. As we get started, we'll briefly introduce ourselves. I'm Gina Aguilar, the Director of Elementary School Academic Excellence for the Archdiocese of Los Angeles.
Hello, I'm Julie Cantillon, Associate Director of Schools for the Diocese of San Diego.
And I'm Jocelyn Pierre-Antoine, the Associate Superintendent for the Diocese of Oakland. The three of us serve as the chairs of the CCSSCC. However, the work that we are describing is the collective work of our group. So what is the CCSSCC?
The California Catholic School Superintendents Curriculum Committee is a standing committee of the California Catholic School Superintendents that was established in 1983. We are a group of diocesan leaders from every diocese in California, as well as a number of other member dioceses from WCEA, which is our regional accreditation association. Historically, we would meet twice a year in person. However, that shifted in March of 2020 at the onset of the pandemic, as each of us were grappling with how to support our schools in the sudden move to distance learning. At the suggestion of one of our members, we began meeting informally on a weekly basis via Zoom. Based on this success, we have now shifted to bi-weekly virtual collaborations focused on developing NSBECS-aligned resources and supports for our Catholic schools. In this session, we will explore the shifts made in structure and how we adapted our work so that the capacity of all participating dioceses was increased.
Before we start, let's review our learning outcomes for this session. First, we'll become familiar with a Catholic School Leadership Network that serves dioceses on the West Coast. We'll also identify action steps for responding to volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And finally, we will learn how to increase the capacity of the teams which you lead in order to maximize connection, efficiency, and productivity.
Some of our work as a CCSCC began in spring of 2019, when we took time as a collaborative group to define our mission as a committee. We reviewed our founding documents and agreed that our work is to promote the Catholic mission of teaching and learning by leading continuous school improvement focused on advancing equity and excellence in education. At that time, we were still meeting in person twice a year. However, having a clearly articulated mission helped us to shift when all committee members in their respective roles were faced with helping schools to navigate the pandemic in March of 2020.
In the spring of 2020, our member from the Archdiocese of San Francisco offered a Zoom invitation for any members who wanted to collaborate around teaching and learning in the pandemic. This developed into informal weekly Zoom meetings. This led to the first formal event that we organized in the summer of 2020, a CCSSCC sponsored panel presentation, which had interdiocesan representation from teachers and administrators. We continued meeting weekly in the fall of 2020 with a continued focus on collaborating around distance learning and the move to high-flex instruction. Although we were still in the pandemic, we were in a place in the winter of 2021 to shift to a more formal bi-weekly structure, where we could start to look forward to other collaborative projects and begin developing shared resources. This past spring, we did a check-in on our structure and established our upcoming priorities. This fall saw the implementation of a number of targeted interdiocesan professional learning opportunities for our teachers and principals. So what were the foundations that we were able to build upon to get to this point of interdependence?
To get to this point of collaboration on shared projects, we were able to build upon a foundation of collegiality and respect to strengthen our community. In our efforts to build our collective capacity, we recognize the need to intentionally plan time to foster our relationships with one another in a virtual space to build trust, especially with new members who joined us during the pandemic. In order for us to have open and honest dialogue, it was important that we spend time via Zoom getting to know one another through prayer, faith sharing, and community activities in small groups. In building these relationships, we have been able to share and identify each other's strengths and leverage the individual skills, abilities, and interests of various members to expand our systems of support within our group to benefit our respective dioceses. We are going to look further at the changes that took place with the CCSCC through the lens of VUCA.
As we all know, we're living in an increasingly complex environment, and the challenges of COVID have only amplified that. To better describe the components of the type of environment in which we live, the military started using VUCA decades ago, and it's now commonly used in business and education circles. The V stands for volatile. The environment demands you react quickly to ongoing changes that are unpredictable and out of your control. The U is uncertain. The environment requires you to take action without certainty. Complex. The environment is dynamic with many interdependencies. And the A is for ambiguous. The environment is unfamiliar and outside of our expertise. How we respond to the volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity can either crush us or elevate us.
We can counter the VUCA environment with developing a vision, acknowledging the sense of urgency, but ensuring a clear vision through the turbulence and discord. By developing understanding, building a common and shared understanding around what we're working towards. Clarity, bringing clarity to tasks and to roles in alignment with vision. And agility, developing a flexible approach.
At this time, we invite you to pause the video and access our reflection guide that will provide you with the key ideas and big questions that may assist you in your leadership in this VUCA world in which we live. The reflection guide also includes the other resources that will be shared during the session. At different points during the session, we will invite you to pause and reflect.
To move from volatility, we must create vision. The pandemic created a sense of urgency for immediate support. As a result, the CCSSCC began meeting weekly. But we needed a vision to ground our work and develop our system of supports as we experienced a lot of turbulence and discord. We ensured that we were focused on our mission and our vision that was developed by our group. We created opportunities to build trusting relationships, such as during each of our Zoom meetings, starting off with an opportunity in breakout rooms to just empty our cups so that vulnerability and transparency can be shared in a supportive environment. Building tools for communication. We have developed and continue to use Basecamp, where we are able to develop resources on the fly, and we need a platform to share ideas and resources quickly. Basecamp is a project management tool that we've been using with CCSSCC, so it enabled us to quickly collaborate without having to send out group emails each time. Members posted on Basecamp, and we're all able to benefit from everyone's contributions.
As an example and resource, this is the Jamboard activity that we utilize to help focus on identifying personal and group goals. We utilize this process during one of our planning days to create the vision for our work. At this time, we invite you to return to your reflection template and reflect on vision. How do we manage what's urgent while still prioritizing what's important? Please resume the video when ready.
We work toward creating a shared understanding. We've all been living with huge uncertainty recently. So we had questions such as, will school be virtual, high flex, or in person with restrictions? Will school leaders and teachers be able to manage this new environment? And most importantly, what support and resources do our schools need most right now? We needed to move from uncertainty to understanding. To do this, we focused on common goals in order to build a shared understanding. We established meeting objectives that are identified at the end of each meeting to support the needs and the interests of the group. And we recognized the rich and diverse skills of our members and the resources they have within their respective dioceses. An example of this is our collaborative work on the NSBECS modules. We'd invite you to access this resource in your handout as it can be used to develop a shared understanding of the 9 defining characteristics of Catholic schools as laid out in the NSBECS.
As WCEA states, we are exploring this new accreditation protocol that is based upon the national standards and benchmarks for effective Catholic elementary and secondary schools. Our group worked collaboratively for several months to create a 6-part module to be utilized with our diocesan leadership, administrators, and teachers in our elementary schools. The purpose of this resource was to bring awareness and develop a shared understanding of the NSBECS in preparation for this transition. After the collaborative work of CCSSCC, the academic excellence team from the Archdiocese of Los Angeles stepped in to help our group revise and refine these modules for distribution and use in all of our dioceses. Again, as a resource, you have access to the module from your reflection template. At this time, once again, we invite you to return to your reflection template and reflect on understanding. What leadership skills do we most need to develop during changing times? Please pause the video and resume when ready.
We also saw the need for clarity. If we hope to change with the times, we need clarity because we can't solve complex or adaptive problems alone. So the first thing we did was we needed to define various roles within the group. We recognized the need for chairs, a subcommittee, and interest groups. Then we created systems and structures for facilitating meetings that included clear objectives and purpose. We also needed to identify a limited number of priorities within our sphere of influence and not factors out of our control. Currently, our work is centered on the NSBECS. An example of this template is to help streamline and focus our meetings.
As a result of one of our spring meetings focused on checking and calibrating our processes, we moved to the meeting-wise agenda template. This was a template that was shared with our larger group by the data interest group. A link to a copy of this template is provided on your reflection template. It's a great resource to capture all of the meeting information. We've adapted it to make it a running Google Doc that we use for all meetings, so we have one place where members can access the objectives and resources that have been shared. So we invite you to take a look at it and make a copy if it will serve your needs. At this time, we invite you to return to your reflection template and reflect on clarity. What is in our sphere of influence? Meaning, what do we have control over and what do we not have control over? Please resume the video when ready.
To move away from ambiguity, we must develop agility. To develop leadership agility, we need to leverage the strengths of others to maximize the potential of our community. As CCSSCC, we needed to work on developing our adaptive thinking skills in order to respond to the challenges that schools faced. We focused on leveraging the strengths of our group members and dioceses so that we would rely on one another for our skill sets and expertise by working in subcommittees and interest groups. We also sought to amplify teacher voice within each of our dioceses by inviting them to share at CCSSCC sponsored events. In addition, in our work in our different subcommittees and interest groups, we seek to solicit feedback on all resources to focus on our own continuous growth. An example of this is the work that came out of the new teacher subcommittee.
We developed virtual monthly meetup sessions for new teachers with members of our CCSCC who plan and led various sessions based on their expertise and experience. This has provided us with the opportunity to maximize the support we can offer to our new teachers beyond what we are able to accomplish on our own. We have linked our recent September presentation developed by the Archdiocese of Los Angeles on your reflection template as a resource. You'll notice that the focus was on grading and parent-teacher conferences in September.
At this time, we invite you to one more time return to your reflection template and reflect on agility. How can we distribute leadership in order to leverage the strengths of others? Please pause and resume the video when ready.
So the future vision of our CCSSCC is continuously evolving as we strive to listen to the needs of our group and communities we serve. Our hope is that our collective work to foster community and build capacity will increase our interdependence and strengthen our efforts to support our Catholic schools to be the centers of faith and academic excellence. So included in our future vision, we aim to continue to provide support to our schools and each of the standards of the NSBECS as we transition our accreditation protocol to a NSBECS-aligned WCEA protocol. We aim for increased interdependence So focus on promoting interdependence as it fosters the skill and resource sharing that can allow us to achieve greater connection as Catholic systems of schools and to increase our efficiency, as well as a continuous feedback loop. We've learned so much over the course of the past 18 months, and we know that we will learn and grow as a network by providing candid and timely feedback to one another on all of our CCSSCC initiatives.
We are blessed to work together as a network of Catholic school leaders in order to grow the capacity of the schools that we serve. We would like to take this moment to acknowledge the members of our CCSCC who contributed to our growth, especially during these extraordinary times. And we look forward to welcoming our new members to our collective efforts and collaborative work. We thank you for choosing to attend our session. We hope you have gained new information and tools that you can use as you build capacity in your own diocese. May God continue to bless all of us in our ministries as Catholic school leaders. Thank you so much.